Hey everyone, I'm Magnus and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So previously in the last video that I made under centering and grounding, I briefly mentioned visualization and energy manipulation. Well, today in lesson 3, that's what we will be discussing: visualization and energy manipulation. Now, I do like to put a little mild disclaimer in some kind of way out there saying that the definitions that I use and the definitions that I put out are my interpretations of the definitions. It's just the easiest way for me to verbalize them for you. And I hope you can follow me, if that makes any sense. So forgive me if I get a little lost. Now, just know that if any of these definitions or explanations that I give you just kind of don't settle right, or if I don't explain it properly, or if I ramble too much and you get lost in what I'm trying to say, there are actually several videos out there that can help you out and maybe assist you a little better or differently for you, okay? So let's get started. Our first one we'll be discussing will be visualization. So what is visualization? It is using your mind's eye, or also known as your third eye, to visualize your magical intent. Now, some people may ask, what's your mind's eye? What's your third eye? It's your mind. Specifically, what people consider the third eye would be around here. It is one of your chakras. I typically don't really talk a lot about the chakras. I don't know a whole lot about them, and I don't like to give anyone any false information. Even if it's just an opinion, I don't want it to be false, you know. So I do know that this is one of the chakras, but that to the side. So whenever you close your eyes and you try to put a picture in your head, typically you're not looking at the back of your eyelids. You know, you're having this image in your mind that's coming up. Well, when you visualize that, you don't visualize it up in the top of your skull or behind you. You typically visualize it like here. It's like in the center of your forehead or something. At least that was my experience, and people that I've talked to, that's how they've experienced it as well. So visualization could come in handy in many aspects. But before I get into all that, I do want to say something else. Now, some people have problems actually doing this visualization, or any kind of visualization. Gosh, I cannot speak again. Any kind of visualization per se. So you can actually, there's a couple techniques. I'll tell you two real quick, or sort of quickly. The first one is using props. People ask, what is a prop? No, it's not something that you get out of your theater department, you know, in your school or something like that. A prop is an item used in magic to assist the practitioner in visualizations, correspondence representations, and or energetic purposes. Now, what that means is, in perspective to visualization is that you're using an item that you can look at that can help you visualize in your mind what you're trying to, well, visualize, what you want to see or what your intent is. So this is just a random example. If you're trying to do some kind of a peace working, whether it's peace between you and a person, between the world, you know, whatever it is, you know, if you're doing a peace working and you're trying to visualize this peace of some kind, you can use a peace symbol. You know, I mean, it's something that simple. There are some things that you may not be able to have a physical representation of to visualize, and so in those aspects, that's the second thing that I like to do. If you can't visualize very well, and that is verbalize, vocalize, speak it into existence. The spoken word has so much power behind it. It's like literally a whole nother video on the concept of spelling, spell work. Like, that's how it is. Like, you put it into existence and it's creating it, so when you say stuff, it creates it. So if you can't visualize something very well, then verbalize what you're trying to visualize. If you're trying to visualize energy around you, try to vocalize it. Like, I see the energy, I feel the energy, whatever the case may be, vocalize it. So if you can't have a prop of some kind to help assist in that aspect, then vocalize. Okay? Now, another question that many people are going to have is, does my third eye have to be open? If anyone asks you about that, or if you're curious about the third eye, if you're not sure what it is, or what I mean by open and not, when your third eye is open, it allows you to see more, experience more. You're like on a different kind of spiritual plane, sort of. No, let me rephrase that. You're not on a different spiritual plane of like existence. I mean, you're like on a spiritual level. Like, you see things more, you can sense things more. You typically have more, psychic type abilities. Clairvoyance, empathy. Divination comes to you really easy. There's so many different ways for me to explain what I mean by the third eye being open. But does it have to be open to visualize? No. It doesn't really have to be. It doesn't really quite work that way. I mean, it can, and by all means it would help you, but it doesn't have to. Having the third eye open, that's something that you can work on. Not everybody can do it. It takes time, a lot of work. It's definitely worth it if it's something you're interested in. Feel free to look up videos on Reiki and your chakras, your third eye, opening your third eye. There's a lot of videos, a lot of information out there on it. Just make sure you do your research, and so you know exactly what you're looking up and what you're doing, pretty much. Some people aren't really prepared to kind of receive all that spiritualness of, coming in towards them as their third eye opens up. So it's definitely something to proceed in caution with. Now, there are several ways to do visualization exercises to kind of help you with this process. There's going to be many out there. The very first one that I will ever tell you would be previous video, centering and grounding. That's going to be the quickest way to help visualize. When you visualize, or when you're trying to center and you're trying to ground and you're working with that energy in you, you see that energy. You visualize it in your head, you see it running through your body, you see it running through the ground. You connect it to the earth's energy, and you're visualizing all this, and that's what helps you feel it and sense things. And it's a wonderful process, and the more that you work with the visualizations, the more that it'll just come to you way more natural. Some people it comes to you very natural already. Other people, it's a work in progress, or catastrophe in progress. But either way, it's easy to work around. Now, grounding and centering, like I said, are great ways to practice this exercise. But there's another thing that I really like to do. It was a way that I started kind of visualizing things, or trying to do a visualization exercise for myself. And that is I would close my eyes, regardless of where I was. It didn't matter if there was a lot of noise or little noise. Basically, all I did was I blocked it out. Not blocked it out to ignore it, but I blocked it out to the aspect of it not staying there. When a thought would pass, I wouldn't retain that thought. I wouldn't acknowledge it. It wouldn't, gain my attention in any kind of aspect. It just was floating through. And so when I would hear these things and all this stuff, that was kind of what I would do. So I would sit down and I would concentrate on that. And then I would imagine this. I would close my eyes and I would imagine a ball of light inside, my chest, inside my body, around my heart, chest area. And then I would imagine this, I would picture in my head this ball of light growing larger and larger and larger and larger. Now, what I thought was really neat about this is, as I did this exercise, I could actually feel like tingles, and I could feel warmth growing around me as the light spread around me. It was amazing. Well, then you can take that same visualization and shrink it back down. Do this process over and over, back and forth. It's a very simple way to start practicing it. If you have an issue, this is a great way. If you need to visualize something, if you have to have a prop for that visualization aspect, you could actually use a picture of yourself. Some people use mirrors. That's a whole other subject, but mirrors can be used, and the objective is that you're looking at it and you're seeing yourself, and so you're able to visualize yourself more. And same thing with the pictures. So I say pictures tend to be easier, but whatever's more handy for you. But that's another great aspect, a tool to help you visualize something. But anyway, so in this exercise, it's very simple. You're working that light larger. Some people may not necessarily see a bright white light. It might be a blue light. It might be sparkles, glisten. It might be snowy flakes. It might be, I don't even know what. There's so many things people might kind of see around them or feel. But this exercise is just a great way to start. And you can basically customize it and personalize it for yourself. You can do all sorts of different kind of exercises, tweaking this one, kind of working with this one and working it for your own ways, just whatever feels comfortable for you. Now, this actually kind of leads into energy manipulation, because the process of that exercise, using that energy, or that light, and having it inside you and getting it larger and smaller and larger, that is actually energy manipulation. So what I guess would be the definition of energy manipulation? It's the process of manipulating energetic forces for use in magical workings. Now, basically, it's what it says, energy manipulation. So you're taking that energy, whether it's from yourself, whether it's from the earth, whether it's from an item, from a prop, from ancestors, whatever it is you're using the energy from. It's taking that energy and working it into your practice, into your craft, to create a physical change in the world and to create a physical change in your life or whatever the situation may be. So I like how it kind of visualization progresses into that, and it all leads together. And again, with the energy manipulation, already discussed it in grounding and centering, and that's actually what grounding is. It's full-on energy manipulation. You're taking the energy from your body, pushing it into the ground, connecting to the earth's energy, and basically pulling it back up and getting this little cycle of energy going between you. So it's really wonderful how it kind of works together. That's why I think these are fundamental basics that have to be learned in the beginning. These are the tools that once you learn all this, you're going to be able to do whatever you want on your own. You're not going to have all these spell books and all this stuff. Like, once you learn the basics and the fundamentals behind it, you'll be able to create your own craft and spells and rituals and whatever it is you want to do. Now, energy manipulation, it's what fuels your magic. So whatever working you're doing, you're using energy around you to put into that working. Otherwise, it's like a mechanical thing. You're just reading the directions and you're just putting it together and that's it. There's nothing behind it and you're going to expect it to work. That's not going to happen. It's not going to work. You have to actually put energy into it, and the energy of doing it isn't quite enough energy for it to get its work done. You have to put your intent into it. So it's what fuels your magic, per se. Now, there are several different techniques and things that you can do for energy manipulation. One thing that I really like to do is energy sensing. Kind of already done it. That's with grounding again. Whenever you push your energy down in the earth and you sense the earth's energy and you're pulling it back up. So energy sensing can be done with anything pretty much. If you're sitting here and you found some crystals or some herbs or a candle or a tree, whatever, whatever it is you got, and you want to sense the energy about it. Now, some people have this, it just comes to them very naturally. Some people struggle and struggle and struggle to sense energy. But this is the same concept as grounding. So practice on grounding and centering. And once you get to where you can ground really well, then energy sensing will come a lot more easier to you. So different ways you can do it. Now, you have what's called your dominant hand. Your dominant hand is typically the hand that you write with. Now, this can vary per person, but on average, what this does is your opposite hand from your dominant would be receiving, like taking in energy, and your right hand would be pushing out energy. Now, you can work them together. That's a whole other thing. I don't want to get you confused. But anyway, so keep that in mind, pulling in, taking out, or pushing out. So when you want to sense the energy in something, you take your dominant hand. Look, I was about to say try 3 words at one time, and it was just not going to come out. So take your dominant hand and you put it on the item, or you hold the item in that hand, and you put your energy into that item, and then you pull it back out, and then that's how you can sense the energy of that item. Now, as you get more advanced or progress more or practice more, just get more accustomed to doing it, you're going to be able to walk by something and just maybe put your hands over it. You might be able to just walk into a room and feel the energy all around you. It varies per person. It varies just experience. It varies on how much you practice and how much you put it out there and you try to do it. So if you get distraught, go back to the basics of centering and grounding. Go back to the science behind everything has energy there. If you need assistance, there's all sorts of ways to use props in your visualization, and even in energy manipulation, you can use these props for energy. When I was talking earlier, when I mentioned about what a prop was, one of the things that you can do is, correspondence representations or energetic purposes. So you may have an item that you can sense and work with, and you can use the energy from that item into your working. As you progress, you'll find a lot more ways to incorporate anything and everything into your magic, that you want into your practice. All by its energy, by what it represents to you, by all sorts of things. But, that's, again, going into another video. But, so just know that whenever you're doing these energy manipulations, you're trying to sense, especially if you're doing energy sensing, you're going to have all sorts of sensations. Some people, it varies. You might get hot, you might get cold, you might have like tingles, the hair might stand up on your back. There might be a few different sensations that you feel, when you're sensing these energies. The more and more you work with it, the more you'll get accustomed to it, the more you'll understand what types of energy it is, whether it's kind of more of a negative or a positive. You'll be able to start telling whether it connects with you or not, like right away, instead of having to get the item or get whatever it is, trying to work with it, and like, why is this thing just not working? Like it's fighting you, Well, sometimes that's why. It's because it's just the energy within it's just not wanting to work with you for some reason, or vice versa, So energy sensing is a great thing to do for that. And just know all these sensations and stuff that you can feel. Just be aware of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut this video short, or not really short, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep on rambling and rambling. Now, if there is something in here that I discussed or brought up or talked about, and you want questions or you want answers, you have questions or want answers, just let me know. Leave, comment, got questions, whatever. Just leave everything down the bottom. I'll read it. I'll get back to you. I definitely like answering questions, so I'm always here for that. I just want to say thank you if you stuck around this long, because I keep trying to tell myself that I'm going to cut my videos shorter, and it never works out that way. So thank you for sticking around. Feel free to give me a like and subscribe. And again, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or anything of the nature, if you just want to talk, feel free to put some comments down there. Yeah, so take care, have a great day, and like always, be kind and take no shit.